My guest today is Dr. Angshu. He's from India, from Kolkata. Very happy to have you here. He has more than 500,000 followers on social media. He's a LinkedIn top voice. And I think you have a very long experience in artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Please give us a short introduction about yourself.
Thank you for having me. Very happy to be here, and thank you, Mark, and the team for having me. So I'm Dr. AngShuMan, and I'm currently in Dubai recording this podcast for you.
Which means, by the way, the source of light, right?
Yes, so Angshu means light, and AngShuMan means source of light, which is sun. Yeah.
Amazing.
So I have more than 15 years of experience working for some of the top Fortune 100 as well as unicorn startup companies. So I work for Disney, Sony, Target, and then Grab in Singapore. And also in my last role, I was the VP and head of data for the largest not e-commerce, but e-grocery company in Indonesia.
In
Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were living in Indonesia, or you did this all remote?
So I used to visit, but I used to be sometime in Indonesia, sometime in India. And so that's how it has been. And as per my education goes, I did my MBA and PhD from one of the top 3 institutes in India called XLA Jamshedpur. And that's about me, and happy to have this discussion. Over to you, Mark.
Yeah. So 15 years ago, you already started with artificial intelligence.
So 15 years ago, I did not start with AI because I don't think AI was so popular at that time, not even data science. So for me, I think it happened I would say I was a bit lucky, and also at the same time, I focused on the right areas. So I think what we call AI or data science today is culmination of multiple different areas, right? It's not one area. When you say AI, yes, now people think AI is ChatGPT, which is not the case. I completely disagree with that. AI is much broader than ChatGPT and generative AI. But AI as a term is very old, as you know. It started in 1940s in US in a conference. And they said anything intelligence that a machine can replicate, which is like natural intelligence, that's AI, right? And we had the waves. Sometime it became popular, then it went out of fashion in the 80s, we had the AI winter. And suddenly last few years, I think again, we are having probably the AI summer. But yes, for me, how it happened is that I did my engineering long back in computer science from one of the top institutes in India. And then I worked in the software development field for a couple of years. And then I realized the importance of business, right? So you are a consultant, you are advising businesses, so you'll know very well that you may know technology very well, but businesses are fundamentally looking to solve their problem. So even if you have a fancy technology that doesn't solve the business problem, it's not as valuable, right?
Absolutely.
And I realized that I was pretty good at technology, but I missed the business understanding. There's the time I went for my MBA, so that gave me a good business knowledge. And I continued with my PhD, right? And PhD gave me some fundamentals, some statistics, mathematics, and all those things. And if I look back now, I think, I can connect the dots. If you think of AI or data science, it's fundamentally 3 different areas you need to bring together, right? So one of them is definitely your mathematics and statistics. I think still that's the foundation of AI, and it will continue to be so, not PowerPoint and those kind of thing or tools and technologies. And then second, of course, you need your computer programming, right? So whether you're using Python or using, cloud, whatever. So computer programming is again a fundamental part of it. And third is, of course, business or domain knowledge, right? Without that, you cannot solve actual practical problems. So I think in my education and experiences, so I learned computer science during engineering, then I learned about business during MBA and worked in different companies, and also learned about statistics, mathematics during PhD. And when this AI boom started probably about 10 years back, or data science started, right? That's the time I made a conscious choice to move towards that field, right? So, yes.
So when was for you, let's say, the pivotal moment when you saw AI is changing your world, is changing the world in general, and you said, okay, this is the area I must really concentrate on?
Correct. So that's a very good question. And I think the time that I started focusing on this area was much before it was hot or, hyped up. It was almost 10 years back, So after I completed my PhD in 2014, and I was working with Disney at that time, and I was pretty happy with my job. But it was media industry traditionally, and the media was going through a drastic transformation, right? So we had the oldest media like TV, radio, newspaper. And then we had, Netflix of the world kind of disrupting it completely. And that's when traditional media companies like Disney and Sony also took a notice of it. And, they launched their own OTT platforms and all, right? And that was a time I think where we had a lot of data, but the industry, media industry, traditional media industry was not ready for it probably because, the people still thought about the old way of doing the thing. How do you do TV programming? And it's completely different for OTT, right? So if you think of a TV channel, right? I don't know if you watch TV or not in Germany. I'm sure you do. Right?
We have to have a TV in
You
China.
have TV and so I hope you watch TV. So if you are watching TV, what time you watch TV? Do you watch with alone or family?
Me personally, I'm really not watching that much. But when I do in the late evening.
Late evening, right? So that's called prime time in TV, right? So you start from 7 o'clock and it goes to 10 or 11.
Much later, maybe 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
And I 10, 11 before I go to bed. When I go to bed.
Correct. So I think even other countries also similar phenomenon happens, whether US or India. So people watch generally during evening, right? And the way they plan it is like they say, okay, 7 o'clock some people are watching, but most people like you are watching at 9 or 10, right? So they will keep their best show at 9, 9:30, 10, right? And they'll keep some good shows before that, after that. And this process is kind of static, if you can think of, because whoever is watching that TV in Germany or US will watch the same show if they tune into the TV channel, right? And technically, you cannot customize it for the individual. So if Mark likes action and adventure, I cannot, show him action and adventure, and maybe his wife or girlfriend likes romantic comedy. I cannot show her that. Because I have only one channel and whoever tunes in will see the same program, right? But when you move to OTT, let's say think of a Netflix, it's very much possible. But people who have been doing the TV programming for 20 years may not be aware about this, that it's possible to customize to individual, because if you, open your Disney Plus or Netflix, the program can be customized to what Mark likes, not what Noel likes or, his girlfriend likes, right? And that was a shift that is going on. A lot of data was being available, but it was a kind of transition phase. And that is the time, I also tried to follow the global trends and pattern. That article came in Harvard Business Review in 2012, I guess, right? So data scientist is the sexiest career of 21st century, right? And that's kind of started the wave in the US, and the rest of the world probably followed after a few years, right? So I started kind of focusing and learning more about it from 2014 to 15 to 16. And I would say the pivotal moment came in 2017. Until that time, in many countries other than US, there was no data scientist job, right? You had analyst job, you have statistician. There's no core data science job. And I thought even in terms of industry, only few industries had adopted it. So as per my research, it was technology industry, of course, the Google, Facebook of the world. Then retail and e-commerce, which is like, Amazon, Target and all of that. And third was finance, probably to some extent, but not as much as retail or technology. And I shortlisted some companies. I tried for some of the FANG companies as well. Unfortunately, I could not crack the FANG companies at that time, but I made it to Target as a lead data science role. And I think that is the pivotal moment when it happened in 2016 and 17. Yeah.
So a long time ago.
Yes.
If you see you work quite a lot in retail and e-commerce. If you see a retail and e-commerce industry today, and especially with the more and more focus on artificial intelligence, where do you think are the biggest use cases of AI in retail and e-commerce, what you can see in the moment?
Yeah, so I worked a lot in retail and e-commerce, both the traditional retail, which is Target, and also the e-commerce company. So I worked for the largest super app company in Southeast Asia called Grab. They offered food delivery, also, cab hailing, and also payments. And in fact, Grab bought the Uber business in Southeast Asia, right? So that happened in 2018. And actually, I joined the team, the ex-Uber team. So people from Uber came and joined. And they are the ones who brought a lot of innovation. And I was fortunate to work with them, right? So in fact, I worked with the person who was heading the analytics for Uber in Southeast Asia. So he joined Grab and I was working in his team. And it was a fantastic experience. I learned so much because Uber was quite advanced at that time. And Grab was bigger, probably in Southeast Asia, but technically was not as advanced, right? So when the people from Uber came and I joined that team and worked with them, I learned a lot about retail and e-commerce and what technology can do. And yes, Target also was a company which was at the forefront of analytics, I would say, but they gradually shifted to data science. So I've seen the transition. And coming back to your questions, which are the areas which are the most important if I think of retail and e-commerce? And I think e-commerce, at least the big players have captured. Let's start with one area. So that area, e-commerce, especially let's say Amazon, has done very well, right? But I see huge opportunity, and I'll tell you what I see. And I see most retailers are not aware or not they're doing, or probably you are consulting, so you can tell, throw better light why they are not doing. So let's take this example of Amazon, right? Or Netflix. So e-commerce we are talking, so let's talk about Amazon. So when you shop something at Amazon, right? Of course you search sometime, but many a times they send you some product, right? Okay, Mark, you bought this, so you will like this, right? Or you search for this, so why don't you try that? And that's called recommendation system. Right?
Yes.
So maybe all of you are aware about recommendation engine.
Of course.
And that's all around us, honestly, if you think about it, right? So of course, e-commerce, Amazon has done it pretty well. If you're using Netflix, 80% of Netflix viewership comes from recommendation, right? So we are lazy, so you don't want to go and search and find. We want things to come to us naturally, right? And same is happening if you're using Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, right? And probably one of the reason I'm here is the recommendation algorithm of LinkedIn, because probably I'm the top voice on LinkedIn on AI, and maybe your colleague, saw my post on LinkedIn, and that's how we got connected, right? So at the end of this, an algorithm, a recommendation algorithm that connected us, isn't it? But if I think about it, most of the retailers are not doing it, and even e-commerce wise.
So all this what you just described is basically facilitated with AI.
Exactly.
And you say that many other retail, the big ones, they obviously all do, but most of the...
even big ones, think of Amazon, they're doing it. Let's take, you probably are using Kareem, which is supposedly one of the top super app here, Middle East.
But they don't do.
And if you go and search, every time I search food, why the same list comes? And if you search and I search in the same location, same list will come based on the location and the filter you put. But your taste may be different. You like a German burger and I may like a tandoori chicken. But why our feeds are not customized as per that? Or even when you're buying grocery, from your purchasing habit, I can understand what products he is buying.
Exactly.
And maybe he likes an olive oil, I like a mustard oil. So why it doesn't customize? And it's very much possible with technology. And I'm talking about so-called tech-savvy e-commerce player, right? And if you think of offline retail, which is 10 times probably bigger than online retail, I see nothing. You go to a shop, you go to even so-called a Starbucks, which is like a very big international US brand and so tech savvy. Every time I go, I like milk coffee, latte, right? So whether in India or Dubai or any other country I go, I'll probably order latte. But Starbucks should know it. Why every time I go, they ask, hey, Mark, what coffee you want? And
how do they know? You go to a Starbucks today in Dubai, tomorrow in San Francisco.
Correct.
How does the Starbucks in San Francisco knows that you are the guy who ordered a cafe latte with extra milk and honey and whatever 2 days before in Dubai? So how would you know that?
How did they detect the individual, right? And there are many ways to do it.
No, but how they detect this? They see it from your eyes or how?
So that's what I'm saying. So there are many ways to do it. And if you think of traditional retail also, you must be holding some loyalty card of some retailer in Germany or other country. And if you tap the loyalty card, they immediately know. With your credit card, if you're paying, they will know, right? And today the technology has advanced so much. There's computer vision technology. The moment you enter the store, they will actually know. And in fact, many malls may be tracking you. There are CCTV and all that. They're actually tracking who is going where, how many people, even traffic they're detecting on the road, Dubai police, right? So it's very much possible to do without being very intrusive. Or at least you can ask the customer about the email or phone number or anything.
So basically you think that not in the future, but very soon, you go to a fast food place, McDonald's, Burger King, whatever, and in the moment you enter, they know that you are the guy who wants the double Whopper menu with the extra fries and so on. Because you always order this, and they basically just ask you, you want to have the same as usually, or you want to have something else?
Exactly, or something similar as comes. Say I'd order every time, cafe latte with milk and honey, but let's say cafe latte with hazelnut flavor has come. So maybe I want to try this, but they know your taste and preference and customize as per that. Whereas now you have to go through the entire menu and select. And I'm just giving you an example, which is the restaurant. And you go to any restaurant, so-called top restaurants in Dubai, Marina, JBR or anywhere. I don't think any of them are customizing, right? Few days back I went to PF Chang. There's a specific big beef dish there, shaking beef, which I really like. Last time I also ordered, right? Why can't they recommend it? So, and anybody can do it, not just, restaurant, but...
So these are really amazing use cases, and everyone knows it from Amazon.
Correct.
So you think this will step by step implement? But
I think...
But why do you think so many retailers haven't done this yet?
That is a question for you. You are the consultant. You're consulting for them. I wonder why they have not done, right? And not sure, because this is one area which is very powerful, because in future, as we can see from the trend of Amazon and Netflix, recommendation is a future, right? There are three ways you can discover anything, right? There is a search, which is active, means either online, or offline. You go and search for something, and online you also browse, where you're not searching exactly, but you just go through the retail also, what we call window shopping, right? So go and check out product you may like. And sometimes there's the active search, which shop, which product, either online, offline you're searching. And third is recommendation. Now, recommendation may be very difficult to do in the traditional world, especially if you're not capturing data, not using AI, right? And very few people have worked on this, right? And I'm fortunate probably, because I worked at Disney, we launched Disney Plus there, you had to do it. And Sony again hired for me. Sony had a OTT platform. And I have for Grab, another e-commerce player. There it is a mandatory thing, right? In e-commerce you have to do. And I had to do it multiple times. But very few people worldwide have done it. If you think of Netflix, when we were hiring talent for Sony for recommendation technology, it was extremely difficult. We were searching from the best of the companies we could not get. Then after research, we found even for Netflix, there are only few engineers and data scientists sitting in the Silicon Valley. They are creating the recommendation system. It's a very small team, right? By a few dozens of people. It's not a big set of people, and general data scientists may not be able to do it, right? It's a very niche technology. It's not overhyped. It's not like ChatGPT, so everybody is not using it.
No.
But if you think of impact and you're a consultant, probably you can tell your thought. I think this is like huge. If you can personalize and customize product to the customers who are coming to your shop, do you think there is a lift going to happen, or your sales may increase? What do you think? What is your thought based on your experiences?
What I see is, on my experience, why those companies don't implement this.
Yeah. And do you first see the potential for this, and then why they don't?
The main reason are normally people. So that your own workforce, they are so busy with many other things that they don't want to take new technology.
Correct.
And that they are reluctant. That you really need a leadership in the management who says, I want this, we want to do this, I will set up a separate team who is doing nothing else than the new technology. This is one thing. The other thing is probably money, because it's not for free.
So it will be costly, it will not be
need to invest in it. Yeah. But I think the example of Karim, for example, which is a huge company, so they should have a lot of potential in doing so. So if you are a small retailer, it's probably difficult, but as a big retailer, I think it's a must that you need to do this.
Yeah, so big retailers and big companies, it's a must. And as you rightly pointed out, sometimes people may not be aware, or they don't have the right tech talent to do it. And it's costly also. And that's what I realized when, say, I did it at Disney or Sony. And then my last company also told me again to develop it. Like, you need a team of at least 10 people. You need data scientists, you need engineers, you need product designers, right? And then it takes time, right? It takes 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, sometimes 2 years or more. And as you know, many times data science solutions don't go to production due to various reasons. And then for a company to invest that much time, effort and money, it may or may not be worth it, right? Many companies will think, probably 5 times or 10 times before they invest a few $1 million and wait for 2 years to see the result.
Absolutely.
The CEOs want to see the result immediately, right? And in fact,
question of focus, huh?
Yes.
So this was a great use case. Do you see other use cases of AI in retail and e-commerce?
Absolutely. So I think definitely first one, I would say personalization and recommendation is a huge use case. And the reason I highlighted, because it's not talked about, nobody's hyping it, but I see huge potential. And I think it's a matter of time. If somebody does it, right? Like, say you think of a Mall of Emirates, a Dubai Mall, even the luxury retailers, none of them are doing it, right? Every time you go, they're asking you, what do you want? What is your budget? Based on that, telling you. But moment one of them do it, right? Let's say if Gucci does it, again, immediately the LV and other brands, or I think Hugo Boss, which is from Germany, all of them will think, okay, these other guys are doing it, I have to also do it. Immediately it will catch up, right? Coming to the other use case, I think another key use case, which probably some of them are doing, but still I think most are doing in a traditional way, is the forecasting, right? So you have worked in retail, you have worked in supply chain. I think heart of the supply chain is forecasting, right? Because rest of the things will follow, right? If you can predict which product will sell, how many units on which day, right? Then rest of the thing, purchasing, supply chain, delivery, everything is going to follow.
If you take the big retailers, who do you think is the front runner in this when it comes to forecasting the wishes of the consumers?
Yeah, so I think many of the retailers are doing internationally. So when I worked at Target had fantastic forecasting system. I think Walmart probably also has a very good forecasting. Amazon definitely, they're pretty advanced in tech and retail both. So they, I'm sure, do a lot of forecasting. In fact, Amazon has a solution on AWS for forecasting, but that solution is very costly if you want to run at scale. But if I see other traditional companies in many countries, they are not using, right? What they are using is, you will see either it's a estimate of the management, they think, okay, this will sell, this will not sell. Or if they're doing calculation, mostly I see it is they're using Excel file or something like that. And if you think about it, if you're selling 10 product, that's possible, right? And you have a supply planning team in most of the companies who is doing it, or purchase planning team. But if you have thousands of SKUs, after a point it's humanly impossible to analyze all the 1,000 SKUs and data for many years and arrive at a precise estimate, right? And what many companies do, I know they have a classification like A, B, C or something like that. They say, these are the key value item or most important item. For them, we'll do a lot of analysis. Rest of them, let it go, right? You go to supermarket, many low selling item, the SKU will either be not there or they are lying there for a long time and,
It's an important use case. If you see, let's say, a small retailer or a restaurant, a corner shop, a fast food chain which only has 5 or 10 outlets, what could those companies do? Because they don't have the money to invest in a huge forecasting AI. Are there any standard AI tools, Gen AI tools, which they can use to help them in forecasting what their customers will buy the next day or the next week?
So I'll come to the solution. And before the solution, let us take a real use case. I think this precisely may be the reason why you find that getting fruit or vegetable in many restaurants in Dubai is difficult. If you've observed that, I don't know if you like fruit and vegetables or not.
Of course.
But you'll see many a times it's not available. Or if it is available, the price is too high. Same thing if you buy in a supermarket, the price may not be as high. And I was thinking a lot about it. And after a lot of analysis and research, I arrived at the conclusion. Of course, there may be multiple reasons, but one of the key reasons is forecasting. Why I say so? Because fruit and vegetable is something perishable item, right? If you know how many customers are coming, how many items they are going to buy, then you can keep that many items and it will sell. But if you keep it too much in the Dubai heat, it will perish, right? It will go bad and you lose money. So you add that money to the price and price goes up, people don't buy, right? And if you don't keep, again, people are coming, they don't see the item, they're not going to order. So in retail, both the issues happen, right? Either you have the overstocking and perishable things. On the other hand, you don't have the stock and people are coming and go out of stock, right? And I think, of course, it's very difficult to do if you have a lot of items. Even if you think of small restaurant, in terms of ingredients, they'll be having so many ingredients. The spices, the herbs, the oil, the meat, the fish, the rice. Some of them not perishable, so they can keep. But things which are perishable, more difficult. So as far as my knowledge goes, I have worked in this industry for long, especially in the forecasting or supply chain area. And I don't see one solution emerging. Just like, for example, for chat, if you ask me, probably I'll say a chat GPT or Gemini are too good, right? But I don't see anything like that in the forecasting area. Yes, there are some solutions like AWS and maybe some small vendor giving it, right? But I don't see one solution stand out and which will make sense for a small retailer because they are not going to spend $10,000, $20,000, $1 million.
Exactly.
And in fact, same applies to the recommendation also that I talked about. And same will apply to even if you have a delivery, like say geospatial. For example, you have a restaurant or you have 5 or 10 restaurants in different locations. And let's say you have drivers who will deliver the product. But how do you automatically assign the driver? Many a times it's like you fix the driver or you call them, where are you? Can you pick up or something like that? But if you want to operate at a scale, you have 100 restaurants, you have hundreds of drivers. You have to automatically match them based on their real-time position.
Exactly.
And that's also a complicated problem to think if you think about it, because even if you have just 1,000 restaurant, 1,000 driver, possibilities are 1,000 multiplied by 1,000. That's like a million possibilities. And computing all of them and finding the optimum is a very difficult problem mathematically and computationally, right?
So again, AI can solve it.
Again, AI can solve it because see, wherever you see something human can solve, but at a small scale. So I'm saying if it is one driver, one restaurant, not an issue, right? Humans can solve. We know how to solve. But the same problem when you want to do at scale, becomes humanly impossible, because humans are good at processing small number, thinking, strategizing, but a lot of number processing is a challenge for human.
And these systems exist already?
This system, I don't know, exists globally as a standard like a ChatGPT, but I'm sure it will exist. And one of the reasons I started my own company, Menrva Technologies, was exactly that, because when I was working for different companies, I saw every time we're developing similar kind of system, we're investing millions of dollars, taking a year or 2 or 3 to develop them. Can we develop a general recommendation system or forecasting system, and then we can offer 200 people? And of course, these own sense make even sense for one person to build if they're small, because let's say if you want to develop a system spending $5 million, it doesn't make the cost benefit justification for many small companies, because they will not get the benefit of so many millions dollars in a short period of time. But what if we develop the system, and which is we call like AI as a service, similar to like SaaS as a software as a service, and then if the retailer comes and they can use it, of course, if I get one customer, one retailer, it doesn't make sense because I've spent millions of dollars. But if you can scale it to 100 or 1,000 people, then it makes sense for us and it makes sense for them.
So this is what you are currently developing.
Exactly. So this is what we have already developed. So our AI platform is ready. We'll probably launch very soon. Around 50 people companies have already joined our waitlist.
Focusing on retail.
So we are focusing on retail e-commerce definitely as one of the use cases, because that's where I and many of the team members has a lot of expertise. And in addition to retail, we also have some solutions for marketing, finance, and supply chain.
How does those solutions look like?
Okay, so let me give one example for marketing. Let's say. So let's say you are a marketeer and you want to know customer opinion, right? So one option is that let's say you have an app or a website and customers are writing reviews. And if you have thousands of reviews, how you are going to analyze them, right? If they give a number, rating, easy to understand as a human, right? So the 4 is good, 5 is excellent, 2 is not good, right? But if they write long text, difficult to go through them. And same thing a lot of time happens in marketing, because you do survey, right? So you tell people to fill the survey, a lot of questionnaire, and they fill the question. But in numeric, you can calculate the average or something. But if they give a text response, many times you ignore, or you just read 2 or 3 and make a judgment, right? Or your agency will do that and tell you, okay, overall customer is happy, not happy. But with the modern AI, especially the NLP, natural language understanding and processing, you can process any amount of text, which you have seen in case of ChatGPT or generative AI. Why can't we apply it to marketing? Let's say customer has given a lot of feedback or reviews. How do you understand? So one of the product that we have, we call it feedback analytics. So there people can just get the reviews in a text file or Excel file, and they can just upload it. That's it. Now the system will go through all the text, right? Of course, first give you a summary that what overall the summary is. Then segment-wise summary, what male, female, different location people talked about your product. You'll also get sentiment, means overall people are positive, negative, and by segment. Then sentiment is where a lot of people stop. They do Python programming, that too, take few months to do it, then they stop. But we think that's not enough, right? Let's say you bought some product and you have a negative sentiment.
Yes.
Good. But I want to know, are you sad? Are you angry? Or are you disappointed? Or, or are you afraid?
Yes.
Right? So I want to know your emotion, because that's emotion, I think, drives the human behavior, right? We always talk about logic and data, but I think emotion is very important, right? Humans are driven by irrational emotions. But how do you understand emotion? And it's very difficult. But modern AI can get you emotion also from what customer has written. And right now we are integrating that to our voice AI, where if they have given a voice record, from voice also you can understand the emotion. Let's say I'm speaking, so my voice can tell you that what emotion I'm feeling or expressing, right? So we get the emotion, that person is happy or sad or disappointed or afraid, what of that. In fact, we have to do a lot of research on emotion. And I never thought that, we'll convert emotion to a number or math. And when we finally did it, I was very happy as well as very kind of, odd experience I felt, because I always felt, okay, numbers are numbers and emotion is emotion. You cannot describe with number. But we have to do a lot of research and read a lot of paper to understand how to convert emotion.
How did you do this? How big is your team, or with whom you are doing this?
Okay, so right now our team size is around 20 people, and most of them are data science or research background. Many of them are coming as like with PhD, a lot of experience also. So one of our researchers, she is a PhD and has been a profession for 15 years working in these kind of areas. Then we also have had some PhD and top students from some of the top institutes in India and outside India. So those who are in India, they know like the top IITs. So we have had from IIT Delhi, Bombay, Madras, etc., which are the best of the best institutions in India. Recently, we had one person from IIT Kharagpur. So if you know, Sundar Pichai is also an alumni of IIT Kharagpur. So we had the best of the best people. Many of them, of course, are in India, but we have also had outside India from the MENA region, from the Southeast Asia. Yeah.
Amazing. So you are basically producing an AI platform with certain use cases. Some of them you've just described, where companies can, small companies also can basically use this on demand.
Exactly. So the way it works,
and you said this doesn't exist yet, yeah?
So we don't know, and we have been done demo to dozens of people, and whoever we have done demo to, they told we have not seen anything like this. And you can also tell you have seen a lot of product. Have you seen AI platform? And of course, later after this podcast, I'll show you the platform that you just go log in, and all the AI that I talked about is ready to use. You can go just upload some of your data. And you get the output, right?
Amazing. And it's already usable?
Yes, it's already usable.
So use it, can use it already?
Yes, can use it already. Yes. So we just need the user ID password, which we will provide, and that's it. You go and use it, right?
Good.
Yeah. So have you seen anything like this?
I must confess that no. As you know, I'm pretty active in the AI scene, talk with a lot of people, and but I...
You know about this business problem, I'm sure.
Of course, yeah.
And as far as my knowledge goes, there are only two ways people are solving it as of today. One is in-house. So of course, if they're a big company, they'll invest money. They'll get that.
Of course, the big companies, they will do it themselves. But
in-house they'll do.
But the majority of companies are small and medium-sized companies.
Small and medium-sized they will not do. And other option is that they hire consultants or some outside vendor or buy something else, right? But they don't have a solution where they can just go and use it. Even in-house or outside vendor or consultant, if they get, they'll get the business requirement, then they'll analyze the data and they'll say, okay, for this data, this model we can do, right? And then they'll follow the process. It'll take few months. So whoever I know has followed this process, right? We have not seen anybody following anything else, a ready-made SaaS kind of platform. Only exception, as I said, is generative ChatGPT. But ChatGPT is limited to chatting, right? And as a business consultant, you understand chatting is not the only solution for all business problems, right?
No, definitely.
You want a virtual assistant for your customer to chat, but that's just a small part of the business problems that we face on a day-to-day basis, isn't it?
Fully agree. Yeah? No, it sounds like a really, really great idea.
Yeah.
If you see the future of retail, just look 5 years ahead. What do you think will happen to companies who stay as they are, who are not implementing any of those tools, who are not following those use cases? Will they survive, or are they going to die, or what do you think?
I think it will depend a lot on the country, geography, and the competition, right?
So let's say in a market, in a competitive market.
In a competitive market like US, if you see, right, it's a competitive market, right?
Yes.
In a competitive market, it doesn't matter. It's just, we're not just talking about AI technology. So I tell my people, right, any business you start, you can make a profit if you add value, and competition in that industry is not very strong, right? But even if you're working in the best of the industry, let's say today the LLM or Gen AI is probably one of the best and the hottest industry where a lot of money is being pumped, and I think hundreds of thousands of companies have been formed. But I'm giving my prediction very openly and transparently that I think 90% of those companies will die. And why I'm saying so? I'm not saying they're developing anything bad or anything wrong, and maybe they're getting investment, right? But if you are in a very competitive industry, it's basic economics, right? Moment the industry is perfect competition, the profit margin goes close towards zero, right? An example would be what? Example would be, let's say, if you think of a, not saying anything negative about any profession, but if you think of a cook or a driver or someone like that, are the professions important? Is very important, because I need to eat food every day, correct? And I need to go from one place to another.
Yes.
But do cooks and the drivers get the best of the salaries? Probably not in most of the economies, right? But are they important? Yes or no? They're providing value, right? They're providing you food. They're taking you from one place to another. Only reason they're not able to get that extra profit or income is because it's competitive. Anybody can become a driver, anybody can become a cook, anybody can become a cleaner, right? Yeah. So only reason those industries extra profit don't exist is the competition. And the same thing I'm talking about the AI or the some of the areas like LLM and all. If everybody goes there, profit margins go away. So if you think of the competitive industries and economies, if some companies providing you that, whatever solution you're talking about, they're able to forecast better. So their probably P&L will look better, right? They're able to recommend personalized products to you where others are not doing. So naturally you like it, isn't it? You think about it. Why many a times you like your wife or mother because she knows your taste, right? You go home, she knows exactly how much sugar Mark has in his coffee or tea, and you know whether to add the milk or not to add the milk. And if you order a, home food, your mother or wife may know that exactly what to prepare, how to prepare, what sauce to add, what not, isn't it? They're always personalizing, customizing the thing for you, and that's what you love, right? So we love being, treated in a personal and, customized way, isn't it? And if it is a weekend, you want something else, weekday, you want something else, morning, evening, right? So I think if somebody can do that and others are not doing it, it creates a competitive advantage, right? And if the competitive advantage is created, others, I'll not say die overnight, but may happen over a period of time.
With the time, yes.
But why I said the place and other thing, because many places, the changes are slow, right? And if the companies are big, I'm not talking about just small companies, even companies are big companies, sometimes if the elephant is dying, the process is a bit gradual and slow, right?
No, I agree.
But that process starts the day you stop innovating. The day you stop improving and upgrading yourself, right? But actual death may happen after some time because, it takes time for big economies, big companies and all, right? And that's true for, even an economy, right? If an economy is not improving itself, learning new skills and, creating new industries, startups, right? Adopting new technology, of course, they will not become, like say, even some countries in Europe will not become small overnight. They've been the largest powerhouses, right? But if you look at it 50 years, 100 years down the line, you'll see that happening. If one economy is going 2%, another is going 10%, you'll not see the difference, 1 to 3 years. But if you look at 50 year, 100 year, it will kind of multiply.
Yeah. So I think this is a very good warning call that every company watching this podcast should focus on AI, should implement AI, and should especially also check out your solution, which I think is, especially for the use cases you described, an amazing one. So thank you very much for coming. It was a pleasure talking with you, and all the best for your platform.
Thank you so much.
See you soon again, yeah?
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you so much, AI IXX, for having me. It was a pleasure, and I hope to continue our collaboration. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.